Hey everyone, and welcome to RUBIN'S Mind Lab, where we break down the latest research into what it really means. Ever wonder if your own mind is playing tricks on you, even when you think you are just experiencing something real? Well, this new study digs into just that. It turns out that when you are in a psychology experiment, your own expectations and beliefs might be shaping what you experience more than you realize. This paper asks a super interesting question: to what extent do the things we report feeling or seeing in experiments actually come from us trying to be good participants and fulfill our goals, rather than from some direct effect of the experiment itself? They call this phenomenological control, which is basically your ability to, without even realizing it, change your own subjective experience to match what you think is supposed to happen. Think about it like this. If an experimenter tells you a certain stimulus is supposed to make you feel tingly, and you have a high capacity for this phenomenological control, your mind might just generate that tingle for you, not because the stimulus is inherently tingle-inducing, but because you are trying to fulfill the experimenter's expectation. This is similar to how a placebo works in medicine, right? You expect to get better, so your body helps make that happen. They looked at a few different phenomena. One is called veer, which is when people report hearing sounds when they're actually watching silent videos. It's pretty common with a lot of people experiencing it. Another is ASMR, that relaxing tingly feeling many people get from certain sounds or visuals. And then they contrasted these with classic visual illusions like the Meller-Lyer illusion, where two lines of the same length look different depending on the arrowheads at the ends. This one is generally thought to be a bottom-up effect, meaning it comes from basic visual processing, not really from our beliefs or expectations. In their first study, they had over 2,000 participants and measured their tendency for this phenomenological control using a scale called the PCs, the Phenomenological Control Scale. They then compared how their PC scores related to their reports of veer and ASMR versus their experience of the Meller-Lyer illusion. And here is what they found. People who scored higher on the Phenomenological Control Scale also reported experiencing more veer and ASMR. This suggests that their ability to subtly control their own experiences was playing a role in these phenomena. But, and this is a big but, they found little to no relationship between phenomenological control and the Meller-Lyer illusion. This supports the idea that this illusion is more of a basic perceptual process, less influenced by our expectations. Now, they wondered if the way they ran the experiment might have tricked participants into expecting certain results. So in study 2, they made sure the different tasks felt like separate experiments to minimize these context effects. And guess what? The pattern held. The link between phenomenological control and veer and ASMR remained, while the link with the Meller-Lyer illusion stayed weak. They also addressed a potential limitation. In earlier studies, the visual illusions were measured differently than ASMR and veer. So in study 3, they used similar measurement tools for both. The results here were a bit more mixed for the Meller-Lyer illusion, showing a slight connection with phenomenological control when measured in a certain way. But still, it only explained a small part of the illusion. The vertical-horizontal illusion showed no real link, reinforcing the idea that these visual illusions are mostly bottom-up. But correlational studies like the first 3 only show that two things are related. They don't prove that one causes the other. So for their 4th study, they decided to test this causally. They recruited participants who were already really good at phenomenological control people in the top 10% of PC scores. They then gave them direct imaginative suggestions. In one condition, they told them they would hear sounds while watching silent videos. In another, they told them they would feel tingling sensations. And when they followed these suggestions, participants indeed reported experiencing what they were told to expect. Those told to expect sound reported hearing sound, and those told to expect tingling reported feeling tingling. This is really strong evidence that phenomenological control, driven by suggestion, can actually create these experiences. So, what does all of this mean? It strongly suggests that phenomena like ASMR and veer, which have often been studied as if they're solely caused by external stimuli, might actually be largely driven by our internal capacity for phenomenological control, especially when demand characteristics are present. Basically, if you are in an experiment and there are cues suggesting what you should feel or experience, your mind, particularly if you are good at this phenomenological control, might just generate that experience for you. This is a huge deal for psychology. It's analogous to the placebo effect in medicine. Many of the effects we study might be partly, or even largely due to participants trying to be helpful by fulfilling experimenter expectations. It raises questions about the validity of some findings if demand characteristics and phenomenological control haven't been carefully accounted for. The researchers even show that when they test individual suggestions from their phenomenological control scale, people also report those experiences, highlighting how powerful suggestion can be when you have this capacity. It also explains why some studies are hard to replicate. The sample's average phenomenological control capacity might differ. This research has real public significance. It means that when we report experiences in experiments, especially subjective ones like ASMR or hearing sounds from silent videos, it's crucial to consider whether our own beliefs and expectations in that situation are creating or influencing those experiences. Classic visual illusions, on the other hand, seem to be more robust and less affected by these top-down influences from our minds. This is a really fascinating and important study. It highlights a subtle but powerful way our own minds can shape our reality, especially in controlled environments like labs. The idea that we might be unconsciously helping the experimenters by generating the experiences they expect is both a little unsettling and incredibly cool from a scientific perspective. The researchers did a great job of testing this across multiple studies, using different methods and controlling for potential confounds like context effects. One of the biggest strengths here is the causal evidence from Study 4. It moves beyond just showing a correlation to demonstrating that phenomenological control through suggestion can create these experiences. It really underscores the need for rigorous control methods in psychological research, similar to what is done in medical research with placebos. A limitation mentioned is that Study 4 focused on participants who were already high in phenomenological control. So we can't automatically assume these results would be as strong in everyone. Future research could explore how people with lower phenomenological control respond to similar suggestions, or perhaps investigate other ways to induce ASMR and VR-like experiences. It also makes you wonder how broadly this phenomenon applies. Could it be at play in things like belief in paranormal experiences, or even some clinical conditions? The authors hint at this, suggesting phenomenological control might play a role in dissociative disorders. Overall, this research is a compelling argument for being more aware of our own expectations when interpreting psychological findings, and for researchers to be more mindful of demand characteristics. It's a reminder that our minds are not just passive receivers of information, but active creators of our subjective worlds. If you found this as mind-bendingly cool as I did, give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment below with your thoughts, and be sure to subscribe to RUBIN'S Mind Lab for more deep dives into the wonders of the human mind. Thanks for watching.